The signal was faint, almost a whisper beneath cosmic noise. For weeks, the alien research vessel Char traced it through collapsing nebulae and silent dead systems until the coordinates pointed to an unremarkable blue planet orbiting a yellow sun. The crew expected ruins, maybe radiation, maybe nothing at all. Every record said humans were gone, an extinct species from before the Galactic Union was even born. But when the first scan reached the surface, Captain Vreth's breath froze. Cities, functioning power grids, orbital debris that looked like ancient satellites still transmitting encrypted codes, and a strange pulse, rhythmic, deliberate, echoing across the solar system like a heartbeat. "Impossible," whispered his navigator. "No species survives alone this long." The crew stared at the holographic feed. They expected desolation, but instead, Earth shimmered with activity. Storms, heat signatures, radio bursts. Then the unthinkable, a response signal. Primitive in form, yet sharp as if testing them. It carried one short phrase in a forgotten tongue. "We were never lost." Across the galaxy, the message spread like wildfire. Empires halted transmissions. Fleets froze mid-drill. Even the machine nations paused computations to verify it. Humanity, the ghost of the First Age, was alive. And they had noticed. The Union's command councils debated endlessly, contact or containment. Curiosity burned, but fear outweighed it. History remembered humans as builders and destroyers both. No one wanted to awaken legends, but by then it was too late. In the dark void beyond Jupiter, lights began to flicker. Not alien beacons, not random anomalies. They formed patterns deliberate and ancient. Earth was already watching back. The Union finally chose the safest bad option. They sent only one ship. The Char slipped into the outer edge of the Sol system. Engines dimmed, weapons cold. Every light on the bridge was low. The crew spoke in quiet, clipped sentences, as if loud words might wake a predator. "Passive scans only," Captain Vreth said. His crest twitched, a small nervous tick he couldn't hide. "No active pings. No energy spikes. We watch. We don't touch." "Yes, Captain," the crew answered. The main screen showed the distant blue curve of Earth, half in darkness, half in gold. Between them and the planet floated a graveyard of metal. Old satellites, broken stations, twisted husks from wars no one in the galaxy remembered. It looked like chaos at first glance. It wasn't. The longer they watched, the more patterns emerged. Objects drifted in precise paths, never colliding. Some rotated in exact rhythms. Tiny thruster flashes corrected orbits with perfect timing. "Those aren't ruins," the navigator murmured. "That's a net." Vreth felt his heart's beat faster. "A trap. Or a shield," replied the science officer. "Either way, someone's still tending it." Without warning, one of the dead satellites turned. A panel unfolded, reflecting sunlight straight at the Char. The ship's sensors flared as a tight beam of data struck them. "They see us," whispered the communications officer. "They're scanning back." "Can they pierce our masks?" Vreth asked. Silence. Claws danced over controls. Then a soft answer, "Yes, Captain. They're reading our hull structure. They just mapped our engine type." Another burst of data arrived, shorter this time. Simple. Direct. Their translators struggled for a moment, then settled on a single human phrase. "You're late." On the screen, several pieces of space junk ignited at once, shedding fake panels and rusted shells. Sleek shapes unfolded from inside, engines glowing a steady, controlled blue. They weren't satellites. They were ships. Human ships. For a long moment, no one on the Char spoke. The junk around Earth now glowed with controlled power, elegant engines humming to life, hulls unfolding like metal wings. Each ship was different in shape and size, but they all shared one strange detail. They looked old and new at the same time, like museum relics rebuilt with future technology. "Transmit standard greeting," Captain Vreth said quietly. The communications officer's hands shook. "Sent, Captain." On all diplomatic bands. They waited. Nothing came back. Instead, one of the human ships broke formation. It glided toward them in a slow, confident arc, nose pointed straight at the char. No shields flared. No weapons charged, at least none the Union sensors could see. The human vessel moved like a predator that knew it didn't need to roar. Inside that ship, on a dark bridge lit by soft blue displays, a woman watched the alien vessel with calm, tired eyes. Her name was Commander Elena Ward. "Range?" she asked. 50,000 kilometers and closing," replied her tactical officer. "They're cold. No weapons lock. Classic Union research profile." Elena exhaled, a quiet, almost amused sound. "So they finally sent someone who reads instead of shoots." Her crew gave her small, grim smiles. Around them, the bridge felt lived in, half-empty coffee mug, a loose jacket hanging off a chair, a cracked photo of Earth's night side taped near a console. "Do they know we can hear them?" one of the younger officers asked. "They're Union," Elena said. "They assume their masks make them gods." She straightened. "Time to disappoint them. Open a direct channel. No encryption. I want every listening post from here to the rim to hear this." A soft tone chimed. The link opened. On the char, audio crackled to life, carrying a human voice across the void. Steady, clear, and very, very awake. "Unknown Union vessel," Elena said. "This is Commander Ward of Earth. You're trespassing in Seoul." She paused, letting the words sink in. "State your intent. And please, don't lie." Vreth had trained for first contact his entire career, but not for this. He had imagined fragile species, awed by the Union's knowledge. He had prepared speeches about peace, cooperation, shared stars. None of those scripts fit the woman whose voice now echoed through the bridge. "This is Captain Vreth of the Union research vessel Char," he said, forcing calm into his tone. "We come in peace, seeking understanding and—" "Captain," Elena cut in, her voice almost gentle. "You're broadcasting 6 different fallback scripts at once. Union Academy still teaching those?" The bridge lights seemed to dim. Vreth stared at the comm display. 6 scripts? Their failsafes were buried under layers of encryption. "How do you know that?" he asked quietly. A short pause. Somewhere on the human ship, someone snorted in soft laughter. "Because we wrote the original version," Elena said. "A long time ago, before you called it the Union." Murmurs rippled through the crew. The science officer shook his head in disbelief. Historical nonsense. No pre-Union species operated at that scale. Vreth didn't correct him. His hands were cold. His mind picked through scattered, half-forbidden legends. The silent architects, the first navigators, the species that vanished after teaching the galaxy the basics of FTL. "Humanity," he whispered, more to himself than to them. "You built the lanes." "Helped build them," Elena replied. "And when we saw what everyone did with the gift, we stepped off the board." Her words hung in the air like gravity. "Why remain hidden?" Vreth asked. "You could have ruled." "Ruling is for people who are afraid," Elena said. "We were busy surviving." On her bridge, she leaned closer to the hollow feed, studying his eyes. "Tell me something honestly, Captain," she said. "What does the Union tell its children about why we disappeared?" Vreth hesitated before answering. Every word he chose felt too small for the moment. "The records say you burned yourselves out," he said finally. "That humanity destroyed itself in the resource wars before the Union rose. They teach that your greed ended your world." Elena's lips curved, not in anger, but in something colder. "That's the version you needed to believe," she said softly. "Makes it easier to pretend you built peace from ashes instead of stolen tools." Her words hit harder than any weapon. On the char, the bridge fell silent. Every officer stared at her image, realizing they were standing inside a history rewritten by victors who had never earned the title. Vreth swallowed. "If that's true, why reveal yourselves now?" "Because you came looking," she said. "And because you've started forgetting who taught you fear." A distant alarm pulsed through her ship, a low, rhythmic tone that made even the alien crew's spines tighten. Through the viewport, Small human vessels began to move again, spreading into patterns that looked more like mathematics than formation. They surrounded the char, not as hunters, but as watchers. Elena's tone softened. We've been quiet for a reason. The galaxy needed to believe humanity was gone, that we'd left the stage. But the truth, Captain, we never left. We just learned how to listen. Her image flickered, replaced by a map of the galaxy. Dozens of hidden signals appeared. Old relay stations, forgotten colonies, dormant beacons, all human. Vreth felt his throat tighten. You're everywhere, he whispered. Elena nodded. Everywhere you stopped looking. The map zoomed back to Earth. The blue planet pulsed once more, bright and steady. Welcome home, Captain, she said quietly. Now tell your Union humanity remembers. Vreth couldn't sleep. The hum of the Charis engines filled the silence like a heartbeat he couldn't escape. Every word the human commander had said echoed through him. We never left. Humanity remembers. He stared at Earth on the monitor. It didn't look threatening, just a small blue sphere wrapped in clouds. But now he knew that beneath that calm surface lay something the Union had buried under centuries of propaganda. Captain, the science officer whispered, breaking the quiet. Our long-range scans. They're detecting movement across the system. Vreth turned sharply. Define movement. Patterns.
Formation.
Thousands of small ships. Some are cloaked, some disguised as debris. They're everywhere. On the display, dots multiplied around Mars beneath Luna's shadow, even inside asteroid fields that were supposedly lifeless. It wasn't chaos. It was coordination. Every craft followed invisible routes, converging like veins toward a heart. Then another alert flashed. A new signal, old, analog, almost musical, flooded their receivers. It wasn't encrypted. It didn't need to be. A voice spoke, deep and steady, like thunder rolling across an ocean. To those who watched from afar, to those who thought us gone, you forgot who lit your first stars. The entire bridge froze. Vreth whispered, "That's not Commander Ward." "No," said his communications officer. "That's global broadcast. Planet-wide. From across the galaxy, millions would soon hear it too." Humanity was speaking not to one ship, but to everyone. Elena appeared again on the holofeed. "We built this galaxy once," she said. "Now we're taking it back. Not to rule it, but to remind it what courage looks like." And behind her, the first wave of human fleets rose through the atmosphere, silent, gleaming, unnumbered, like ghosts returning from the stars.